My beloved child, let this word touch you not as a threat, but as the hand of a father gently resting on a hence child's shoulder before dawn breaks. There are mornings that are not merely the beginning of a new day. They are the threshold of a new season, the moment when heaven places before you a divine invitation, an open door, not meant for you to stand and stare at, but for you to step through. I know you often think that every important thing can wait a little longer, that if you are not ready today, tomorrow will still be there, that if you miss one calling, I will immediately place another identical calling before you. But my child, not every moment repeats itself. Not every door remains open forever. There are moments that carry their own measure of grace, and if you keep delaying when your heart has already clearly heard my voice, you may pass by something that regret will never be able to recover later. I am not telling you this to make you panic, but to awaken vigilance within you. Many times you are not defeated by some great evil, but by a small hesitation. You do not always turn your back on me through one obvious decision. Sometimes you simply say, tomorrow. Tomorrow you will forgive. Tomorrow you will step out. Tomorrow you will speak the truth. Tomorrow you will release what is weighing you down. Tomorrow you will return to obedience. And those tomorrows quietly pile up, until your heart becomes accustomed to hearing without doing, seeing without responding, being called yet remaining still. My beloved, delay can wear a very gentle garment, but if you feed it too long, it will become a locked room where the dreams I placed within you slowly lose their light. I know you are afraid. I know there are steps that make your heart tremble, because you cannot see the whole path. I know you want more certainty, more signs, to wait until circumstances calm down, until people understand you better, until you yourself feel stronger before you begin. But hear me. Faith is not waiting until there is nothing left that makes you tremble. Faith is taking my hand while you are still trembling, then stepping forward because you trust me more than your own unease. The one who always waits until they are completely ready will miss many seasons specifically for obedience. For there are things that only open when your feet touch the threshold. There are waters that only part when you move forward. There are lamps that are only lit after you are willing to leave the familiar darkness behind. Remember Abraham, when I called him to leave his homeland, the familiar place, and everything he could hold on to with his natural eyes. I did not place the entire map in his hands, nor did I explain every turn of the journey. I simply called him to go, and in that going, the promise began to unfold. If he had stayed behind, waiting for full assurance according to human reasoning, he might have kept what was familiar, but he would have lost the journey that became a covenant. It is the same with you. There are seasons when I do not give you the full explanation before you step. I give you the invitation. I give you the stirring in your heart. I give you enough light for the first step. The rest I will reveal as you walk with me. Do not take lightly the morning that is coming, my child. To others, it may be just an ordinary day, but for you, it may be the hour when I call you out of the place where you have stayed too long. Perhaps it is the time for you to say a word you have been avoiding. Perhaps it is the time for you to leave behind a habit that has weakened you. Perhaps it is the time for you to reopen what I placed in your hands, but which you set aside in a corner because you feared failure. Perhaps it is the time for you to walk through the door you prayed for. Yet, when it finally opened, you stood still because you feared the responsibility that came with the blessing. I do not want you to live your entire life in a posture of preparation without ever truly setting out. A seed was not created to remain forever in the palm of a hand. It must be sown. It must break open. It must touch the soil. It must pass through the darkness of the earth before it rises into life. There are callings that are gentle, and there are callings that are decisive. When I awaken you in the right season, it is not because I am impatient with you, but because I know what lies ahead. I see opportunities you have not yet seen. I see the dangers of delay that you have not yet recognized. I see the people who need the light I placed within you. I see doors with a limited time, meetings that have been prepared, arrangements that have been set in motion. And if you keep standing still because of fear, you will step out of rhythm with grace. You often think time is an endless storehouse from which you can take whenever you wish. But time is a flowing river. You cannot step into the same water twice in the same way. So, when I call you today, do not answer me with a promise of tomorrow. If your heart clearly knows that the hour has come, I also know there are parts of you that want to negotiate. You say you need one more night to think, one more sign to be sure, one more person to confirm, one more circumstance to become more favorable. But my child, many times what you call thinking is simply avoidance, dressed in the language of wisdom. I am not against caution, but I stand against fear disguised as wisdom when it keeps you in the old place. When your heart has heard, when the truth is clear, when my hand has opened the way, delay is no longer preparation. It becomes quiet resistance. And I love you too much to let you sleep peacefully in that resistance. Look back at the times you delayed and then carried regret in your heart. Not so you may blame yourself, but so you may learn the value of responding at the right time. There are apologies that, if spoken too late, no longer touch the way they would have when the other heart was still open. There are opportunities that, if waited on too long, will be given to someone else. There are seasons that, if you keep lingering at the threshold, the door will close. Not because I am cruel, but because life continues to move according to its order. I am full of mercy, but my mercy is not an invitation for you to live endlessly in postponement. Grace does not only forgive the times you were slow to move, grace also strengthens you to walk when I call. Therefore, my beloved child, when dawn comes, wake not only with your eyes, but with your whole heart. Ask me what you need to release. Listen for what you need to do. Courageously enter into the thing you have been avoiding. Do not wait until every voice of doubt disappears before you obey. Do not wait until you feel strong enough before you begin. Strength will come as you walk, and not always before you walk. Clarity will grow along the way, not always be given in full while you are still standing still. I will not abandon you in the middle of the journey. Well, I myself have called you to enter. Today is where faith is revealed. Today is the ground I have placed beneath your feet. Today is the opportunity for you to prove that you trust me more than delay, more than fear, more than the habit of waiting for another season. The one who chooses tomorrow may think they are protecting themselves, but the one who chooses obedience today is placing themselves in the flow of life. Rise up, my child. Step out of the room of hesitation. Respond while the invitation is still echoing. For there are dawns that do not merely light up the sky, they illuminate destiny itself. And when you follow me at the very moment I call, you will realize that what you feared losing through obedience was nothing compared to what I had prepared for you on the other side of your response. My beloved child, come near and listen to me with an awakened heart, because there are things that do not enter your life with the loud crash of disaster, but quietly, like a sweet fragrance, making you think they are harmless. Sin rarely introduces itself with its true face. It often takes on a pleasant appearance, places soft promises upon its lips, and paints before your eyes a road that seems to carry no consequences. It does not tell you that it will take away your joy, dim your discernment, steal your precious time, and eventually force you to live inside cords you did not see at the beginning. It only whispers that a little will not matter, that no one will know, that you deserve satisfaction after weary days, that it is not big enough to draw you far from me. But my child, deep pits do not always begin with a great fall. Many times, they begin with a small step you underestimated. I do not say this to frighten you, but to protect you with the truth. My love does not only pull you back from the edge of the cliff when you are about to fall. My love also teaches you to recognize very early which road leads to that cliff. I do not want you merely to be rescued at the last moment, only to live your whole life with a heart trembling before old chains. I want you to walk in strong freedom, in radiant purity, in a joy that is not torn apart by hidden compromises. There are things that at first make you feel relieved, but afterward leave within you a heaviness you cannot easily name. There are choices that bring only fleeting pleasure, but afterward take away your peace for many days. There are habits that seem small, but if they are nourished long enough, they will build a dark room and invite you to live there as though it were home. Stay awake, my child, because the most dangerous thing is not always what you hated from the beginning, but what you begin to love, even though you know it is weakening you. When a whisper repeats itself often enough, you may mistake it for your own voice. When a compromise is repeated again and again, you may call it your personality. When a wrong habit is covered with reasonable excuses, you may stop feeling the pain when it wounds the purity within you. That is how darkness often works. It does not destroy everything in one day, but removes one small stone after another from the foundation, until the house begins to lean while you still think you are standing firm. So do not guard only the large doors. Pay attention to the small cracks as well. Do not merely avoid the things that are obviously wrong. Listen when I prompt you to leave what is making your heart grow cold. Do you remember the story of Samson? I placed upon him strength, a special calling, a sign set apart for his life. But his weakening did not begin on the day his eyes were taken from him. It began before that, in the times he played with what should have been guarded, in the times he stepped too close to the boundary and confidently believed he was still in control. He did not lose everything in the first moment. He gradually lost vigilance, lost reverence for what was holy, lost the ability to recognize that small pleasures can open the door to a great bondage. And when he thought he could still rise as he had before, he finally realized that the strength had departed from him. My beloved, that story was not left behind to make you despair, but to help you understand that what I give must be guarded through obedience, and true freedom must be protected by daily vigilance. But I also want you to see mercy in that story. Though Samson fell, though he had to pass through painful consequences, I still did not forget him. When he cried out in brokenness, I still heard. That tells you that I am not the one who merely waits for you to make a mistake so I can cast you away. I am the Father who always desires to bring you back into the light. Yet do not use my mercy as a pillow on which to sleep peacefully in what is destroying you. Grace is not a license for you to continue walking on the road that draws you away from me. Grace is the power that lifts you up, cleanses you, and teaches you to say no to what once pulled you down. I do not forgive you merely so you can return to the old place. I restore you, so you can walk higher, deeper, and more firmly in the life I have prepared for you. There are false joys that will invite you to exchange true joy for them. They promise to make you feel filled, but the more you drink, the thirstier you become. They promise freedom, but the more you follow them, the more you have to hide. They promise control, but in the end they leave you no longer able to control your thoughts, reactions, words, and choices. Remember this: anything you must hide from the light is asking for the right to rule a part of you. Anything that causes you to withdraw from prayer, avoid the truth, or feel afraid to be alone with me is not your friend. It may call you with a gentle voice, but the fruit it bears is confusion. It may make you feel strong for a moment, but afterward it leaves emptiness and shame. I do not want you to live under the authority of those voices anymore. Bring the secret things before me, not because I do not know them, but because when you open your hands, you allow me to heal. Do not wait until the cord becomes a chain before you cry out. Do not wait until the room is filled with smoke before you look for the door. The moment you sense something pulling you away from purity, return to me. The moment you hear the whisper telling you that this does not matter, stop and ask your heart, is this leading me closer to the light or farther from it? Is it making me freer or more dependent? Is it causing me to love what is holy more, or to grow colder toward it? Those questions are not meant to condemn you. They are the lamp I place in your hand, so you will not walk in confusion. I know there are battles within you that no one sees. I know there are habits you have tried to release many times, only to grow tired because you thought you could not win. But my child, victory does not begin with hating yourself. Victory begins when you believe that I am stronger than what is binding you. Do not let one fall convince you that you belong to darkness. Do not let the past call you by the name of failure. Each time you return to me, each time you choose light instead of hiding, each time you say no to the old invitation even while your heart is trembling, a part of freedom is being rebuilt within you. I see every small step. I do not despise the day of beginnings. I rejoice when you choose me, even when that choice is spoken in a weak voice. So wake up with gentleness, but also with decisiveness. Guard your heart like one guarding a precious garden. Do not allow poisonous seeds to grow, simply because they bore beautiful flowers at first. Do not let harmless whispers lead you into a ruined house. Do not trade lasting peace for one pleasant moment. I have called you to a victorious life, not through pride, but through holy dependence on me. When you stay close to me, the light within you will become stronger than the darkness around you. When you walk after me, what once enticed, you will gradually lose its power. When you allow me to lead, you will not only avoid the cliff, you will learn to walk on a higher path, where freedom is no longer a distant dream, but the daily breath of a child who is loved, guarded, and renewed in my grace. My beloved child, let this word enter the deepest place within you, like clear water, touching ground cracked dry by unanswered questions. I know you have looked at painful events and wondered why I allowed them to happen. You wondered why injustice could come so close, why hurtful words were spoken, why betrayal could step into the room you once called peaceful, why things you did not choose could leave such deep marks upon your life. I do not take those questions lightly. I do not blame you for trembling before pain. But today I want you to distinguish this very clearly. I am not the source of wickedness, not the one who sows darkness into your life, not the hand that creates evil in order to make you collapse. I am holy, kind, and faithful. Yet in wisdom that surpasses human understanding, I may allow something to happen so that what is hidden can be revealed. So truth can be drawn out of darkness. And so you will no longer be bound by things your natural eyes had never seen. There are things that when they first happen, you see only as loss. You see only tears, fractures, long sleepless nights, conversations that leave your heart heavy. You think everything is against you. But my child, not everything that hurts you is permitted in order to destroy you. There are shakings that do not come to bury you, but to expose the foundation. There are breakings that are not the final period, but the revealing that what you had been leaning on was never strong enough. There are people who leave not because you have been forgotten, but because I am showing you that they cannot walk with you into the new season. There are secrets that are exposed not to shame you, but to free you from the falsehood that had quietly drained your peace. When I allow light to shine into a place, the dust will appear. But do not hate the light because it shows you the dust. Understand that the very light itself is the beginning of cleansing. I know every intention before it becomes an action. I know the words people have not yet spoken, the schemes still forming, the motives hidden behind a smile, even the cracks in things you thought were whole. Nothing takes me by surprise. No betrayal comes without my seeing it beforehand. No injustice escapes my eyes. But I do not always prevent everything in the way you expect. Because there are certain forms of prevention that would keep you sleeping in illusion. There are times when, if I shielded you from every impact, you would never realize that the table you were sitting at had one rotten leg. You would never realize that the promise you were clinging to was only a rope woven from emotion. You would never realize that the place you called safe was actually making you smaller day by day. Therefore, my permission is not indifference. It is a form of mercy deeper than you can immediately understand. Remember the story of Job, a man who passed through a trial that no one around him could fully explain. What he lost was too great. What others said to him was too heavy, and the questions in his heart were too many. Yet, in the midst of that pain, what was true and what was false began to be separated. The counsel of his friends, which seemed wise, was revealed to be shallow. His old layers of understanding were brought before a greater light. And in the end, he did not merely hear about me with the ears of tradition or memory. He encountered me in a deeper and truer knowing. When everything superficial had been stripped away, that story does not teach you that I take pleasure in your pain. No, my beloved child, I do not rejoice over your tears, but it reminds you that even in what you do not understand, I still have the authority to set limits for darkness, the authority to restore what was lost, and the authority to turn the desolate place into the very place where you come to know me more closely than ever before. Perhaps you are looking back at certain events and your heart still aches. You wonder why I did not close that door sooner, why I did not reveal the truth before you had given so much trust, why I did not stop those words before they pierced you. I hear those questions, and I do not turn my face away. But remember this, I am doing more than explaining the past to you. I am redeeming that past with my wisdom. I am taking the very thing that once made you unclear and using it to open your eyes. I am using the cracks to show you which structures need to be rebuilt. I am using pain to teach you discernment, not through bitter suspicion, but through pure vigilance. After these things, you will no longer be easily deceived by appearances. You will no longer rush to call every sweet word love, every open door a blessing, every delay abandonment. You will learn to look deeper, to ask me more carefully, and to place your heart under my guidance instead of under the pressure of emotion. What I allow to be exposed is not meant to make you live in fear. I do not want you to walk through life with eyes suspicious of everyone, nor do I want you to close your heart because you were once wounded. I want you to be free in clarity. Freedom is not never encountering pain. Freedom is not allowing pain to rule the way you see life. Freedom is when you can look at the truth without being crushed by it, because you know I am standing with you in that truth. Freedom is when you no longer need to protect what is false, simply because you fear losing what feels familiar. Freedom is when you dare to let me dismantle what does not belong to me, even if at first you feel empty, because you trust that my hand never takes away without a redeeming purpose. Therefore, my child, do not call every pain evidence of failure. Do not think that because you are being shaken, I have withdrawn my hand from you. Sometimes I am nearer than ever, not to create the storm, but to keep you in the storm and use it to clear the sky around you. I can allow a shell to crack so the life inside can rise. I can allow a truthful word to come forth at the right moment to break years of pretending. I can allow a door to close so forcefully that it startles you. Yet the very sound of that closing saves you from walking deeper into a place that was not meant for you. I can allow what you once did not see to become clear, so you no longer live by trust, placed in the wrong place. Place your hand in mine when everything is being exposed. Do not run from the process, simply because it makes you face the truth. I will not leave you alone among the broken pieces. I will teach you to gather what remains whole, release what has decayed, and rebuild your life with the materials of grace, wisdom, and courage. Painful events do not have the right to write your final chapter. They are only pages I can use to open a new understanding, a new maturity, a cleaner, brighter, firmer path. What others intended to use to wound you, I can turn into the place where you awaken. What darkness used to cover you, I can transform into a lamp that lights the way. And when you look back, you will see that I never intended to harm you. I preserved you through what I allowed, so truth could be revealed, what was false could be torn down, and you could step into the part of your life no longer controlled by hidden things. Do not despise seasons without applause. Do not consider the quiet months meaningless. Do not think that because you have not yet seen results, I have not been working. Some of my deepest works take place in silence. A seed makes no noise when its shell cracks beneath the soil, but in that hidden place, life begins preparing to rise. It is the same with you. There are things I am building within you that others have not yet seen. There is maturity taking shape. Through the times you learn patience, learn to release what you cannot control, and learn to trust me before your emotions have found peace. The delay you feel is not always an obstacle. Many times it is a fence of grace, keeping you from entering something beautiful before the foundation within you is firm enough. I also want you to stop limiting me by the way you imagine things. You often think blessing must come in a certain form, through a certain person, at a certain time. When that does not happen, you begin to feel disappointed, as though I have overlooked your prayer. But I am greater than every script you have written in your mind. I can make a way in the wilderness, place streams in the dry land, use one small meeting to turn an entire season of your life, and use a word from a stranger to awaken the hope you buried deep. I can use what you did not choose to bring you to what you need. I can use the place where you once cried to sow seeds for a season of joy. I can use waiting to purify your desires, so that when what I give arrives, you will not worship the gift more than the giver Let me teach you to look at time with trust instead of fear. Do not ask only with the voice of impatience when that thing will come. Ask with a softened heart, how I am shaping you while you wait for naught. One day in my hands is wasted. The days you thought were meaningless may still be building endurance. The seasons you thought were setbacks may still be protecting you from a rushed decision. The quiet spaces you thought were empty may be where I teach you to hear my voice more clearly than every noise outside. You do not need to run ahead of me to prove that you have faith. True, faith knows how to move when I speak, and it also knows how to stand still when I say to wait. Therefore, my child, lift your eyes from the clock that has made you weary. Stop measuring my love by the speed of my answer. Stop concluding that I am absent simply because you have not yet seen the result. I am working in deep layers you cannot yet touch. I am arranging scattered pieces into a picture that, at the right time, will help you understand why every stroke had to be there. I am never late in my purpose. I never forget what I have promised. When the time is ripe, what belongs to you will not need to be seized in panic. It will open in peace, be confirmed by good fruit, and be placed into your hands in a way that makes you know I myself have done it. Trust me on the road you cannot yet see in full. Trust me when the answer has not taken the form you expected. Trust me when the person I use does not look like what you imagined. When the path I open does not resemble the road you drew. When the season of waiting stretches longer than your patience. I see the end from the beginning, and because I see completely, you can rest in my guidance. What I am preparing for you is not ruined by time. What I have ordained is not swallowed by delay. And when you look back, you will realize that even the days that seemed like postponement were being woven by me into a plan more perfect than anything you ever dared to ask for.